Greetings, family, and welcome to another edition of Black Talk Radio, where black media matters and black life certainly matters. Today is Friday, July 20th, 2018. Well, family, this video is of a black man who was wrongly convicted for a murder he didn't commit. He spent 23 years behind bars in prison, only to be exonerated by a DNA test. When he was exonerated, they let him out and compensated the man. Now, I'm going to go into this story, but before I get into it, let me just state for the record that anytime black people are done wrongfully, when the state or anytime there's a lawsuit involved, black people are always shortchanged. We live in a system that is so effed up and so wrong. It does everything backwards to the people they should be doing everything right for. It's bad enough our ancestors are the one who built this country and made it so convenient and comfortable for those who still treat us like this. Now, here is a system that wrongly convicted another black man who spent 23 years behind bars. And then when he gets out and compensated, he still gets discriminated against. Let's take a look at what this story is about. So, family, pictured here is Daryl Fulton, shown July 20th, 2018 in Franklin Park. He says he was hassled at a bank while trying to deposit a check from the state compensating him for his wrongful imprisonment for a murder he didn't commit. So again, this bank, because he's a black man, decided to discriminate against him. We're going to get to what bank it is. Well, an attorney representing a man who spent 23 years locked up for a murder he didn't commit says her client was turned away twice by Chase Bank when he tried to deposit a check from the state of Illinois to compensate him for his time imprisoned. Chase, meanwhile, said it made a mistake in turning him away once, but denied doing it twice, calling the second incident this week a misunderstanding. So let's get this straight. They said that they made a mistake turning him away once, but they denied doing it a second time, but then saying that the second time was just a misunderstanding. How can there be a second time and a misunderstanding if you denied that it even happened twice? Chase Bank, black people, if you cannot tell my righteous brothers and sisters that they do not want nor need our business, we should be taking our monies out of Chase Bank and putting them into a black bank. There's an idea. We really should be doing that these days, so that way we don't have these type of issues. But nonetheless, they lied. So they discriminated against Daryl Fulton, and then they lied about the incident by making an excuse up as to how the second incident that really didn't happen, that they claim, but they said that it was a, quote, misunderstanding. But let's continue. The exonerated man, Daryl Fulton, said he was proven innocent and expressed frustration with the ordeal. Quote, "I'm just trying to deposit my check," Fulton said. "I just wanted to be treated like anyone else." Kathleen Zellner criticized Chase for not allowing Fulton to deposit a $169,876 check from the state at its bank branch on 79th Street and Cicero Avenue, questioning whether racism played a part. The first time Fulton tried to deposit the money, Zellner said, the bank said she would have to endorse the check because her firm's name was under his, though Fulton's name was on the, quote, paid to the order of line. So you see, the fact that This black man's name was on the pay to the order of, because it had Daryl Fulton's name behind those 6 figures. The bank, of course, pulled their racism. They pulled that racist card that European Americans always seem to pull on black people. But let's continue. Zellner said the law firm's name was on the check because it was mailed to her office. The second time, Zellner said, Chase contended Fulton signed above her name and the check would need to be deposited into her account. Zellner got on the phone with the bank, but employees wouldn't deposit it, she said. So you see, again, Chase Bank is being very racist. For any black people these days to continue banking with Chase Bank, I hope you get a flat tire, maybe have an accident, or maybe they just lose all the money in your account if you don't do the right thing with Chase Bank. At this point, no black person should be banking with Chase Bank. You can tell right away they are coming up with nothing but excuses, and they have definitely used the race card on this black man. In a statement, Chase said it, quote, let me start this over. In a statement, Chase said it, quote, should have accepted Fulton's check during his initial visit, unquote. The bank did not specifically address whether Fulton's race was a factor. Well, of course, the bank isn't going to address that issue because racists hate to be exposed for what they are. But we're going to expose Chase Bank for who they are. They are a racist banking institution. And I certainly wouldn't bank with them ever. Quote, we did offer to deposit the check on his return visit and have reached out to him to clear up any confusion, the bank said. We regret the error and apologize for the inconvenience. Well, so Chase Bank at least fixed their little tight lips to apologize, but at this point, the damage has sorely been done. I don't understand people who always think they can get away with doing something rude or nasty to somebody and then come behind and say, I'm sorry, as if that freaking does a damn good. After you've hurt someone or insulted someone or done something wrong, and then you come behind only to say, I'm sorry, you remind me of drunks. Drunks who do that to their loved ones and friends. They get drunk, sloppy drunk, and act stupid and ignorant, and then they go around the same people talking about, I'm sorry. Well, I'm sorry for you because I don't want to hear it. And I don't have friends like that. I got to tell you, I cut them loose long time ago. Homie, don't play that shit. But I'm sorry, but in this case right here, they're going to sit there and offer an apology after the damage has been done. I don't think so, nor do I accept your apology. You guys need to learn once and for all, people are tired of racists. We are tired of racism. We are tired of what you think is so supreme when it's not. You suffer from white inferiority complex, and you guys have major issues. What's so sad is you are always judging a person by the color of their skin, never the content of their character. So why you even fix your little tight lips to even quote Martin Luther King, I'll never understand. You need to give it up. We are not hearing you. We know who you are. You are displaying yourselves daily. But I digress. after their apology. Zellner disputed that Chase offered to accept the check. So you see, I just read a minute ago that they said, Chase said we did offer to deposit the check on his return visit. But Zellner, his lawyer, says that's just not true. Zellner disputed that Chase offered to accept the check. She said he will be changing banks and that he took a new check from her client account that he can deposit. That's excellent. I'm glad he's taken his $170,000 elsewhere. But this black man right here, Daryl Fulton, who was incarcerated for 23 years of his life, of his precious life that God has given to each one of us, each one of his righteous children. We have devils who are incarcerating us and charging us with crimes that we never have committed. Yet they give themselves a slap on the wrist for evil acts that they do. They give themselves a slap on the wrist. And then when they go to finding out that they were wrong after 23 years through DNA testing, you find out that the real perpetrator wasn't a black man after all. And you don't even discuss that. You don't even discuss that. You just say how, oh, we exonerated this man. Yeah, but who was the actual criminal? You never showed that person's picture in this article at all. You white racist media, you always pull these shenanigans. We recognize it too. But I digress. Fulton's check comes from a state fund for wrongly imprisoned people. Zellner has represented numerous wrongly convicted men and said she's never had a problem with her clients depositing their checks before. So you see, she's making it very clear that this banking fiasco with Chase Bank, it's all about race. It's always about race. When it deals with black and white people, it's always about race. They always claim that it's not, and they deny, and they deflect, and they project. But they always deny for sure that, no, we're not racist, when you clearly are. You expose yourselves to us all the time. You expose your hand to the righteous children all the time. We see you. We see exactly you for who and what you are. She goes on to say that I find, quote, I find it particularly outrageous because he was wrongly convicted, Zellner said. The check is from the state of Illinois to him, and I can't attribute any other reason except they're discriminating against him because he's a black male. I'll repeat. The lawyer says the check is from the state of Illinois to him, and I can't attribute any other reason except that they're discriminating, meaning Chase Bank is discriminating against Daryl Fulton because he's a black male. Fulton, released from prison in November, has been working at a factory in the near western suburbs. Fulton spent 23 years behind bars for the 1994 slaying of Antoinica Bridgman, who disappeared after her 20th birthday party in Inglewood. 2 weeks after Bridgman disappeared, Fulton's co-defendant, Nevest Coleman, found her body in an abandoned basement of the Inglewood home where he lived with his family, and Coleman's mother called authorities. No physical evidence ever linked Coleman and Fulton to the attack, a Chicago Tribune review of court records and police reports found. So you see, we have some crooked-ass prosecutors, lawyers, and then you got a crooked racist judge all in cahoots to lock up black men, just like Daryl Fulton. Anyways, both men say they were coerced into confessing by detectives with a history of alleged misconduct and immediately recanted. They each described abuse at the hands of Chicago police officers. And you wonder why we have to always hear from the white racists about Chicago. Well, what about Chicago? Well, what about Chicago? Yeah, you should ask the racist white police, what about Chicago? That's what you should be doing. Fulton and Coleman were sentenced to life in prison for the murder, but recently discovered DNA evidence matched a serial rapist. Prosecutors dropped charges against the men last winter, and in March, a Cook County judge awarded the men certificates of innocence. Each man has a civil rights lawsuit pending against the city of Chicago. In the time since their release, Coleman returned to his old job as a groundskeeper with the Chicago White Sox, generating national headlines and an ESPN documentary. Well, Daryl Fulton, I wish you the best of luck, my brother. I am very sorry. No, I can't even apologize for a racist system. It has to do right on its own. May God bless all of us righteous children in this land of evil, and may we rejoice over righteousness that will prevail in the end. This is Guru at Black Talk Radio, where black media matters. We'll see you in the next video. Peace.